Hi, I'm Shana McCauley. I am the Canon Vicar at Trinity Episcopal Cathedral, where I've been serving for about 4 years. I'm a mom and a wife, and I live in the suburbs. I had a gasping revelation a couple weeks ago. There are 2 people in my life who had the greatest impact on my faith as a child. My grandmother and my dad gave me the formal language of faith. My maternal grandmother, my harmony, sat vigil every Saturday at the Korean Presbyterian Church, praying through the night in a room dedicated for use by the harmonies who did this together. I spent many Saturday nights there with her, sleeping on pews as they prayed, and then as they worshiped at the sunrise service and all the services of the day. The church van drove them home on Sunday night. The harmonies made the full lunch after the primary service and hosted revivals and attended the revivals of other churches. They worshiped faithfully on Wednesday nights and traded hosting Bible studies on Friday night. These were a really big deal when it was our turn, and we had to make a full meal for all of the mostly harmonies who came, often with other perfect grandchildren like me. And as a participant in the strange competitions of grandmothers, my grandma knew how many times her friends had read the Bible cover to cover and where she ranked in the group. My dad became an Episcopalian when I was 9, and from then on he was a leader in every church we were part of, a lector and a vestry member, a server and senior warden, and eventually a priest. These 2 taught me the rules, the written ones and the cultural spoken-only ones that are often more important. They each taught me the Lord's Prayer in Korean and English, respectively. 하늘에 계신 우리 아버지, Our Father, who art in heaven. The father language for God has always sat well with my soul. I know there are others who think they had the best dad, but I really did have the best dad. He was kind and warm, smart and quirky. I'm an only child, so we spent a lot of time together, just he and I. We were peas in a pod. He always supported me trying new things and was lovingly honest when a thing wasn't necessarily my thing. My dad grounded me twice, generally knowing that he was disappointed in me was all of the correction that I needed. He told me he loved me all the time. We would compete on who could say, I love you more than you love me, first. That was, I love you more than you love me, if you didn't catch it. And he told me he was proud of me so often that even now, almost 8 years after he died, I can still hear how much he loves and is proud of me in his voice. So God the Father is a God that I get. He makes sense to me. He loves me and is proud of me and needs only to be disappointed in me for me to need confession and absolution. A couple weeks ago, as I often do, I was thinking about the other person who taught my soul about love. My harmony gave me complete, adoring love. She came to live with us when I was almost 3 after immigrating from Korea. She was always home, always got me up for school and made my lunches. She taught me to speak Korean in that period when our brains are wired to learn language. And I speak it like an old grandma with idioms and pronunciations that still make my aunts laugh. She'd sing to me and cuddle me and thought that I was the smartest, prettiest, loveliest human that ever walked the earth. She loved me with the reckless abandon of a grandparent, made only to love where parents must also correct and, parent. I think she loved me more than I deserved. And I know that God loves me more than I can deserve or earn or aspire to. A couple months ago, I gasped at the question, what if God is mother too? What if that amazing, adoring love that my harmony taught me, what if the harmony who taught me about breasts and my period, about the so-called role of women and how I should never be limited by that, what if that was the character of God too? I had to take a breath and then another one. Because of course God is all of those things and more. God is truly beyond our imagination, beyond words. Anything we can imagine is too small for the vast, infinite, divine, who created all things. For now we see dimly in a mirror, Paul writes, acknowledging the limit of our earthly experience. In so much art, the Trinity is 2 dudes and a bird. That's human rendering and not God's. God didn't come as a human twice, just once, and will again. Our understanding of God is a way for us to have relationship with God, but not the entirety of who God is. We couldn't handle the full knowledge of God. And so I have been thinking these last weeks about God as my harmony, my amazing farmer grandmother who survived the Japanese occupation and had the communists take away her rice harvest. My harmony loved Americans for the rest of her life because they brought peace to her village and her world after the Reds took everything. The day my uncle was born, my harmony worked like a regular day while she labored all day with her mean mother-in-law breathing down her neck. My great-grandma laughed and laughed over the years that my grandma said politely, "Something seems to be coming out," and then delivered my uncle while they were working in the kitchen. My harmony immigrated to the U.S. in her 60s and lived more than 20 years in a country where she never spoke the language. What if the God of everything was like my harmony, strong, persevering, adaptable? What if God's strength is not just masculine, manly, and broad-shouldered, but also feminine, complex with strength that defies logic? What if God is all of those things? Because, in fact, God is. God the Creator is not the old man of art, not a man at all, and definitely not limited by the human constructs like race and gender. That's humans trying to contain God so that we can understand and have relationship with her. It matters. It's important. It's hard and sometimes impossible to be in a relationship with someone you can't imagine. But we need to be careful about how much we limit the God of everything, lest we trap our God like a genie in a bottle that we free when we have wishes. And even as I know and have thought a lot about how we limit God, imagining the female characteristics of God has blown the top off my understanding. So this season, I've been praying, Hanude Keshin Vuri Amani, Our Mother, who art in heaven. And I imagine my dad and my harmony high-fiving that I learned a little more about the God that they introduced me to so many years ago.